Because I mean, everything now is like either 2.5 hour movie or 10 or 13 episodes, an hour each.
Yeah.
That's why I like Russian Doll. Boom! Right there.
Wait.
Right there.
Into the crack house. 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 Into the crack.
Welcome to Fort Fritz Minisode 56. I am your host, Fritz, joined as always by co-host Man Daddy.
Hi.
Angela.
Hello.
And Kaz.
Hello.
So, near-death experiences. How many people, percentage-wise, do you think have had NDEs? Isn't that cool? Did you guys know that?
The acronym NDE?
I didn't know that was actually like a common acronym.
I don't know if it is.
It is now. We've made it so.
By the way, this is going back to an Inverse.com study about scientists studying near-death experiences.
I'd say like only about 12, 13 people overall.
13 people ever?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Ever even experienced it.
Ever?
Ever. In the entire history of man, like 13 people at best.
Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah, I know.
I want more people to nearly die.
Who doesn't?
Brave-ass motherfuckers like, was nothing.
Saw death, came back, was bored.
Was nothing. Decided to live.
What do you think, Angela?
I'm going to say like roughly about 20-21%. I feel like it's somewhat common, but not super common.
Okay. What about you, Kaz?
Like I said, I think that most people are pretty dramatic. They're like, you take a weird swerve on the highway, like, I almost died, and that was my near-death experience. So, like, I don't think a lot of people have.
Like as they're just like chatting on the phone.
Right.
On I-4, that happens like every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
it depends
so
upon your
moments.
proximity to Orlando I-4 as to how many NDEs, but I would say like probably upwards of like 60. Let's call it 60.
65. 65.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Well, it's actually about 1 in every 3 people, so close to 33%, who they say have had a brush with death and have actually reported it, like to their, their primary care physician, their surgeon, whatever. Most of them talk about a bright white light, some kind of a tunnel that they're walking towards, or a reunification of, dearly departeds and pets and things like that.
Yeah.
But now science...
That breaks my heart just
so
thinking
good.
about it.
That would be so tight. You could just take me.
Be a rough.
You guys were just talking about Sir Pounce too, and
Sir Pounce is up there, then
Sir Pounce is up there, I'm
Yeah,
there.
that's
We're
it.
going there.
Whiskers.
Let's talk about that later. But
Adorable faces.
Yeah, so science has pretty much ruled into play 2 theories. One is the left hemisphere NDE, and one is the right hemisphere NDE.
Oh, really?
In the left, there is more of a flying sensation of hovering above the operating table or around the scene of the crime kind of thing, and also an altered sense of time, kind of like being super, super high. And you're sitting in the
Why are you looking at me?
Like ultra mega high.
Like really
Too high for reality.
Exactly. And then to the right, you have more of a communicative sense of spirits, more in line with the afterworld.
Okay.
If you kind of want to go with that
Interesting.
vibe. For instance, hearing and seeing ghosts. So hallucinations, we can kind of safely, chalk that one up to. But they don't exactly know if the left or the right hemisphere are the only players, because there's also the temporal lobe that can actually have this feeling of non-existence. So some people have reported very bad NDs in which they feel like they're being judged by a higher power, or they are feeling in a void, in a vacuum. And I thought that was the fucking craziest shit
weird.
I've ever heard.
Oh, yeah.
Your brain puts you in purgatory,
Time
basically.
Oh, God.
It's like those are all the 3 or 4 different like main ideas of what happens after death. You have either your dogmatic version of either getting rewarded or punished, or then you have your purgatory, or then you have your just blinking out of existence.
Well, I'm glad that you said that, because actually
welcome.
culture and age may play a pretty pivotal role in this.
It
Interesting.
has to.
So when there are reports, let me phrase it that way, of Indians having had NDEs where they've seen Yamraj, which is the Hindu king of the dead, and then Americans typically report seeing a Christ-like or fatherly figure, and children say they've seen friends, neighbors, teachers,
Tight.
authority figures. So it's all no kings, no gods.
No authority.
My afterlife doesn't involve like authority. Like, I'm sorry.
There you go, perfect. So
You fight authority. Authority always wins, though.
religious, this is kind of proof, right, that there could be something outside of death, and humans have always wondered if we exist after we stop existing. And so this is fascinating. Again, inverse.com. But on the inverse of that, you have science, which is just kind of classifying it as not proof of anything supernatural, but just kind of classifying it as a depersonalization of the body after death, which I think is really cool to think of. And then, so this article also goes into DMT, which is a drug that
Joe Rogan busts through the door like the Kool-Aid man. DMT, yeah.
Yeah,
that would be the scariest shit of all time.
That would be fucking scary. So, and Kaz was talking about that season 1. I believe it was season 1 where there might be, this drug might pretty much let you trip forever, and I just think it's fascinating. There's also a dying brain hypothesis, which is anoxia, like without oxygen, pretty much that's where you get that tunnel vision. And that was studied on pilots. It's a really, really cool article. And it doesn't have the old man get off my lawn kind of look at it. It's just kind of like, who knows?
Check these out. Check this out.
Yep.
Here's one of the things I always thought was interesting is that when you die, and if you're lucky to die and not just have your entire head, blown away, if your brain is intact, when you think about dream time, you could have a dream that seems to last for freaking days, and they usually last like sometimes just a minute or two.
Right.
And so if your brain is still processing information for say 20, 30 minutes, you could live an entire freaking existence just in that dream time.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And so is that the afterlife? And then that has a different ending. I mean, there's so many, when you take out the whole dogma possibilities of it and just try to look at a science possibility.
Yep.
Because energy is neither created nor destroyed. Mm-hmm. And there is the whole thing about the body actually loses a certain amount of weight when it dies that they can't explain for. That's not just
there's like some point
5 grams or something like that. There's a movie about it.
21 grams.
21 grams, something like that. No, that's what I had this weekend. I'm kidding.
That was Narcos 3.
What did I say?
Have you watched the new ones, the Mexico ones?
I haven't. People have been talking about it like it's supposed to be really good. I haven't checked it out yet.
Because I dropped off after like the season 3.
Because you don't speak Spanish and you were getting upset because it was all in Spanish.
Wow.
So going back on dying.
But back on
I think is how we got off.
Since the topic was dying. But when you try to look at the actual science of it, it gets so tangled up because you're dealing with people's religion.
Exactly.
All religion is based on what's going to happen when you're not here, pretty much.
Right.
It's just like, you know what? I could be a complete crap person, but instead I'm going to worry about, it's like, just be a good person and don't worry about the reward or benefit. Just try to be good in this life because this might be the only one you get. There might be another one. We don't know. So why not be a good one on this one without needing a document forcing you to do it?
Yeah.
I think, Penn Jillette was talking about being an atheist because he's really into that. And so it was like, oh, well, what's keeping you from raping and murdering? He's like, I rape and murder exactly as much as I'd like to. None. I could rape and murder all I want. I don't want to.
That's just not in me.
Yeah. Well, you really need someone to tell you not to murder?
That's a problem, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's so funny is that you have to think thousands of years ago. It's like, man, everybody keeps killing everybody. Can we somehow tell these people that you shouldn't do that?
Control some people.
I keep on telling them they don't listen to me. Go up there and get some tablets.
Are scientists trying to figure out what happens when we die? And they think they know it, but they don't know exactly what's going into play.
It's so crazy.
But when you said there was right hemisphere, left hemisphere, and is that like where they're seeing activity during? Okay, I didn't know if that meant like that part of the brain was dying, or that's where they saw the activity during the experience.
Yeah, it was. It was. I think from what I gather, it was them doing their spectral megabophone on the cortex of the head
with the hey and the hey, it hurts me.
I don't know, man. Check it out. Inverse.com.
There you go.
Is that kind of like what they did with flatliners, or is that different?
That's exactly what I was just thinking about. Flatliners. Yeah. Let's just take people back and forth a little while and do a bunch of tests. Let's
What'd you see?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
And then they redid it with Ellen Page, right?
Yeah, it
There's a new
flopped like a
Flatliners?
mo. Oh yeah, it came out
Yeah.
like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and it just
I never saw
flapped.
it.
I think I have
I
it on
love Ellen
Netflix.
Page too.
I know. It's
Ellen
Oh,
disappointing.
she went full on the Colbert
She went
Report.
full
It was
Ellen Page?
it was powerful on the Colbert Report when she started talking about gay rights and Trump and the anti-LGBT movement. And check it out online. It's very powerful. She just
Page
turns toward the camera and she just goes.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah, she
Amazing.
is.
All right, so
She's tiny.
She's a very small person.
Yes, she is.
what you got? Anyone?
I'll go.
Okay.
I watched a lot of stuff on serial killers recently.
Nice. Like what?
There's a lot to watch right now in serial
Netflix
killers.
is like, oh, you like that? Here's like 17,000 more things just like it. You psycho.
That's
You
great.
crazy person.
I like to think of it as like research on my enemies, my
Yeah.
like
Yeah, yeah.
possible enemies.
That's
But
the thing. You don't know that they're your enemies.
I know.
That's the thing about
Well,
serial
any
killers. They're
one of
not your
you-
enemies. They just show up and take you.
yeah, okay. So I watched on Netflix the Ted Bundy Tapes. I don't know if I'm saying that right, which was fascinating. That was a documentary. It was a series.
I hear it's great.
It was really good, very chilling, very interesting.
I watched a couple episodes.
So that all happened before I was born. So I don't obviously ever remember watching it.
My hip just gave out.
You're sitting down.
I know. That's how bad it is.
Happens.
It just
It's
slipped out.
just hearing
wait.
it. You don't
Yeah,
think
you
about
make
it.
a
and then-
noise.
You're like-
yeah.
He just manned through
One
it.
day you sit down and that's the last time you've ever stood up.
That's it.
Like,
Holy shit, that's profound.
Coming any day.
Man, my back hurts so bad.
Just wait, don't
Don't
place.
even get.
Yoga
No,
with
I have a back
Adrienne.
brace down there.
bad. So the Ted Bundy tapes were amazing because I had never listened to the trial, and what a fascinating and freaky situation that
It was nuts. It was
I could not
a
believe that
media
was real
circus.
life.
Oh yeah.
That was nuts. He married some lady, and there were girls who were like fans of his. I mean,
And that
it
still
was-
happens with serial killers today. Every
I
serial
do
killer
know
gets
that. Yeah, I
What
mean,
the-
Charles Manson got married recently, didn't he? Like,
Yeah, before he died.
Yeah, right before he died. I mean, the whole thing it was really very, very interesting. I highly suggest watching that. And then I also watched Abducted in Plain Sight.
that was what I was going to talk about. That was one of the things I was going to bring up.
Don't.
You can't talk much about it.
My
You can't say you can't say too much about it. You have-
God.
yeah,
You just,
that's what I was talking about. Where every time it starts slowing down a bit, you like look at your phone, all of a sudden they'll say something, you're like, what?
you start screaming at the television.
Yes.
Like, and
Abducted in Plain
it's a
Sight?
true story.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's dope.
It is 1970s in Idaho.
Oh god.
Mormons.
Yeah,
Is that Corn Noir?
That's potato noir.
it is. Spud Noir.
I mean, these poor sheltered, naive, ignorant people, and the decisions they made, and the way they let this monster come in their house,
And the things they let him do.
things they let him do, and the things they would just do for him.
Yeah.
I just every single time the parents would start talking, you go, you did what? You allowed
To
what?
do who with the...
It happened how many times?
Yeah.
Oh god.
It's so
This
crazy.
sounds like something I don't like.
It's
I'm not-
and I think it's best to go into it as cold as you can.
Oh, yeah,
you know?
I don't like
even
to-
read the placard.
No, just
dive
go,
in.
Just
Ah.
just go right in.
And it does a good job
no
of just starting.
expectations. Yeah,
like,
it does.
it's like okay, okay.
You lost me in
And then like
Idaho.
20 minutes in, when the big twist happens, you're like, he told to what? I mean, it's so good.
So I think Miss Fritz was watching this because she was like, "This is too much.
just screaming.
This is what." No, she did.
You son of a bitch!
She was just like, "Yeah."
You did what?
She goes, "I'm not watching this," and
Yeah.
she actually,
God.
she's like, "I'm not watching." It was like 20 minutes
That's a
in. She was
lot,
like, "I'm
man.
done." She's
You
like,
all
"Way
of a
too
sudden
heavy."
like you don't realize there are so many people out there like that. And you're like, oh, that's why we're in the situation we're in right now.
Yep.
These people are out there.
Yeah, that they're just completely way too accepting of anything that is just presented to them with an amount of authority.
It's that obedience thing, and
Yep.
they kind of talk about that. Not to make this a Minisode about bashing religion, but
But
I mean,
we
I
gotta.
already
Religion,
did.
where you at?
I already did.
but you know that whole listen to your authority, follow this. You have to do these rules, otherwise stuff's gonna happen to you. Mentality
Yep.
can cause a lot of problems for people.
We need a religion of critical thinking. I want a religion where, like, the principal tenet is, how do you know that?
We have it. It's called science.
There you go. Hey.
Just not
the science
ology.
of religion.
Just science, no ology.
no
Just
ology.
straight up science.
It's like biology, but with religion. So it's like biologian.
That sounds like a skin cream.
Yes.
You try new biology, you'll find new elasticity.
Hi, I'm a biologist. I mean, I'm not really a biologist.
More of a biologist.
Well, I'm more of a biologist.
I'm
So
biologist.
abducted in plain sight.
All right.
Idaho in the 1970s.
I believe in life is like biologism.
Biologism. Yeah.
So stupid.
So, Abducted in Plain Sight. If you ever want to watch something just to make yourself feel smart,
Nice.
just go ahead and watch that.
Like
right.
it's that bad. It's like it's
Yes.
that obvious.
Oh my
And
God.
it's a true story.
Yeah,
It's a true story. And I did feel bad for the dad. Like,
Oh, God. Yeah,
right?
you
were
feel
just
real bad for the
"Oh,
dad."
honey. Oh,
It is.
bless your heart.
And it's an hour and a half. It's an hour and a half. You're in, you're out. Because I mean, everything now is
You're in,
like
you're out.
either 2.5 hour movie or
Yes.
10 or 13 episodes, an hour each.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I like Russian Doll. Boom!
Oh,
right there.
wait.
right there.
Russian Doll. I'm going to get to that.
I got two left.
Yes.
I got two left.
Yeah.
So no spoilers. But that's the thing. When I looked at the thing, I'm like, 8 episodes, half an hour.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Sign me up. I watched it today.
This is my Tuesday.
I was able to watch some before work and then after work and finish it. It was
There
great.
you go.
That's cool.
And then I also watched The Innocent Man, which was a John Grisham book about the real story that happened in Ada, Oklahoma. That's also a series on Netflix. John Grisham's actually in it because he did all this like whole story about it.
Yeah.
And it's about a couple murders that happened in Ada, Oklahoma, and these guys who were framed for it, but you don't know. It's kind of like watching Making of Murderer a
really?
little bit, where
Oh,
you're
just like,
oh, they planted some things.
Is it-
They got some really not very intelligent men to kind of just accept some things and say some lies and take the fall and. Yeah.
Take some lies and say to the fall and do the things.
Do the things.
That's a blues song
go to
waiting to
jail.
happen.
And
Blue song
and
waiting
then
to happen.
appeal it 12 years later, and so that
So
was,
it is a documentary?
it's
or
a documentary.
Okay.
It's a true story. It's a documentary that's on Netflix.
Okay.
I forget when it happened. I think sometime in the 90s. But yeah. And then, DNA involved and things being discovered. And yeah, it's lots of very
And is
sad
that
things that I've watched.
Episodic, or is that like a one shot?
You were saying it was a parter, right? Eight parts?
Oh gosh, I think
you said.
there's about 10 episodes.
10.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Maybe I could be wrong about that. I could be completely wrong, but
Do you think John Grisham had any ghostwriters? Or do you think he's one of those guys who's only Kendrick who?
Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar is a ghostwriter for John Grisham.
Dude, are we breaking out some news that no one knew about, dude? Oh, come on, man.
Streets is
There's
talking.
like a Illuminati shit going on right here.
To Pimp a Butterfly. It was
I
right
will
there the whole
say
time.
that not this book, because he's on this documentary talking in like almost every single segment
really?
where like people
Okay.
are like, yeah. So he was very invested in this book for sure.
That's cool.
It was really good. And then I wanted to go into Russian Doll, which Kaz, have you watched it?
I have not, no.
I loved that show. That was great.
There was.
I'm enjoying it. Like I said, there's other, and it does a good job of building steam.
Yeah.
And they do one of the things they do best is the end of every episode is something where you're like, now I gotta watch the next
Yeah.
one.
Right.
They
do.
The very
They
last
get ya.
second is always something you're like, mother.
So if you haven't watched the show, it's on Netflix. It's Natasha Lyonne. Is that how you say her
I think
last
so.
name? I love her. And I know she's always herself and everything.
Yeah, she always has the same rhythm.
But that's fine. Some
Yeah.
people are like that. You're like, I like them because you just get to be you. Like Billy Crystal's always going to be Billy Crystal and everything.
Yeah.
Good fucking example.
That is a good one.
So she's her like bombastic, big personality, in your face, broad, just like
She is a broad.
She's a
You're allowed to
broad.
call her a broad.
Yeah.
She reminds me of Sarah Bick, who
Little bit.
who has been on 2 episodes of ours.
yes.
It's just like
A little bit.
one of her fucking classic lines is she wakes up and goes, "All right, time to suck today's dick and put her to bed." And I'm just like, and
Which
that's
I feel like Natasha Lyonne probably said that in one of those episodes.
I'm sure. It sounds
I mean,
like she said, "Let's fuck this party in the face."
Yes. So the concept is it's her 36th birthday, And it's kind of like a Groundhog Day effect. But I feel like they do a much better job of explaining it and going into why.
Groundhog's Day was such a good fucking movie, too.
Yeah.
It's one of
I
my
love
favorite Bill Murray movies.
It's a great movie. And this show takes that idea and kind of does something a little different with it.
Interesting.
Which is really cool. And I really enjoyed watching every single episode.
Russian doll.
It takes you in some directions. You're like, oh, it's that. No, it's that. No, it's that. Because they're trying to figure out what's going on.
Right. So like I said, I've got two or three left, and it's just it does build steam.
Yeah, it does. So,
Well,
Fritz,
that's
did you
dope as
enjoy
shit.
it?
I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
I loved every second of it.
You said it's something that shall be revisited through the ages. Mark my words.
I believe that will be a cultural Netflix high watermark. For sure.
Interesting. What about it do you think takes it to that level?
It was easy to watch. It was quick to watch. And like you said, every fucking thing right now is a 10-part, 2-hour each, slog off. It's like,
That's where Marvel really fucked up with their Netflix shows.
Slogged off
I
over
agree.
13 episodes an hour long was just too much for a lot of those storylines.
Yeah.
So
agree.
I was like, it was just refreshing. And to see it's a female centric cast.
Very much so.
There are maybe two or three dudes, and everyone has equal screen time though, which is great. But it's like it's a well told story. You don't really need to understand it. You get it at the end.
I
love it.
You could actually jump in like a middle of the season.
You could.
And start right there and keep going.
but I wouldn't recommend it because the best thing about things like that, if you're sort of like me, watching the different loops and seeing the differences.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And be like, oh, that's going to go. Just connecting those dots with, if you have my type of mind, which is I don't recommend, is a lot of fun.
Well, Mr. Angela came in at like the second episode or third episode. Mr. Angela.
Mr. Angela.
And
he's going to love that name.
And
I love it already. It doesn't matter. I love it.
And he was like, "What's this?" And I was like, "I just put it on while I was getting ready this morning." And he like did not need anything else. He was like hooked
Just
immediately. I mean, like the energy of it.
I guess
the
you
flow,
could go back and it still works since it's a loop.
for sure.
Yeah.
And just the pacing of it was really good.
One thing that I loved was somebody asked me, so are they all different deaths? Because the whole premise of it is that she is reliving this one moment.
Yeah.
And I said, no, but that's what's fucking funny about it, is how a lot of them are completely different, but no, because you just see her frustration.
Yeah, she's like, I can't go down the stairs.
Yeah,
like,
that's one early one. Yeah.
The first time, and this is not a spoiler because you won't understand, the first time where it's just gas explosion, bike accident, and then they just say it and move on.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And Natasha Leone was one of the executive producers on it, and as was Amy Poehler.
Yeah, I saw that's one of the first things that when I saw that on the credits, I was like, they gave me a good pedigree before I started watching, since I'm so Parks and Wrecked out right now. I mean, in a good way.
Great music too.
Yeah.
Music selection is excellent.
It is good.
That Harry Nilsson song that they kept using over and over.
Gotta get up, got a big day. Gotta let the people know I'm gonna be late.
Yeah, you're gonna hear that song a lot when you watch this series.
You better hope you like Harry Nilsson. Kaz, what do you have for us?
Movie trailer catches that I caught. Us, the new Jordan Peele.
That looks so absolutely
I heard about
amazing.
that.
I am so hyped.
I know nothing about it.
I don't watch that
Tell me.
trailer.
So Jordan Peele directed.
Have you seen the trailer? Either of you?
No, I just heard
Okay,
about
after
it.
this, we're watching the trailer.
Yeah,
That's what
check it
we're checking that out.
So I guess we can post it or just go look it up on YouTube or whatever. But the director of Get Out, which was the runaway success of last year? Was it last year or 2 years ago?
2006, I think.
Back in 2004, NSYNC ruled the airwaves.
It was on TRL that day.
Get Out was 2006.
I think it was last year, right?
No, it was last year.
Yeah. It was a fan. If you haven't seen Get Out, watch Get Out. It's so good.
And
it's everything.
We watched it a second time. It's better the second time.
Because you get to see all the shit. Why?
Because you have it in your head that you're looking for things.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, so good. All of it's so good. It's nuanced, it's layered, and it's It's got the like good, what would you call that? Cinematography, like horror cinematography, makes you uneasy. A lot of really good like
the
portrayals.
sound, the good sound cues and stuff like that.
It's great.
Does anybody know what that like reverse pupil effect is called? Because
Tiny
like
pupils?
they've been doing that since the 20s. No, where it just looks like someone is being like remotely controlled by someone else. Do they shine light into people's eyes?
You can either do it through if you can either shine a light or move the light away where it's not affecting the camera, or that or actually eye drops. And of course, ophthalmologist, ophthalmologist use
right
that they
The
drop your ears
iodine or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That is one of my fucking favorite
You just
like
see the
movie tricks, and it always like I'm like they probably just have a light. It's like it's as simple as that. And it's anyway like it's they don't do a lot of the. And Get Out, they don't have like that big. It's a thriller, I guess, right?
Yes. There's no real. I mean, there's a couple of like really kind of horrifying parts, but yeah, for the most part, it's like a tense kind of nightmarish suspense kind of thing.
Suspenseful.
It's very good.
Yeah.
And again, on a second and third
movies.
watch through, you get a lot more out of it and why things are placed a certain way they are, and very cool. So he is directing a new movie that's coming out called Us, and the trailer is fantastic.
It's spectacular.
It looks so cool. The premise, it seems like a little hazy as to exactly what's going on, but there's a family that is, I guess, vacationing in this area, and they are going through some terrifying events where they're seeing essentially like their doppelgangers that are these murderous kind of like monster people that are following them around, and look it up. Basically,
Wow.
It's tough. Yeah, look it up.
It's so good.
And again, that's similar like eye for cinematography and that like kind of painting the scene of these different. Everything was very striking and horrific.
How have I been sleeping on this?
Us.
I don't know how
we're going to check it out.
We're going to check it out immediately. It's so good. There's 2 different trailers, but and there are people like
Us.
like us. There's people like us. People wondering if there's a possibility of a shared universe, and I'll discuss that off mic after you see the trailer.
Cool.
Because
I'm all ears.
looks very cool.
You done?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. After that, I guess I am.
No, he just has a long pause. I
You're
didn't know if I was
fucking
supposed
done?
to introduce myself, or you're going to introduce me. Or
I mean,
what do you have, me? Well, let me tell you.
asshole, man, daddy.
Jeez.
Dead air is the death of this industry, man. Come on.
It's podcasting.
Oh,
Angela
fuck.
and I
True.
learned that.
We
In
went,
podcasting,
we
Dead
went-
air is punctuation,
we went
baby.
to a meeting. It's fine.
Dead air is punctuation.
we had a meeting. It's all good.
It's all
true.
good. It happens.
true.
It's real life.
So, do you have
She's
anything
great.
else for us, guys?
No, man, daddy. What do you have for
No,
us
seriously. Is there anything else going on in your life you like to
yeah.
talk about?
Tell us about your day.
today?
Just to spite this motherfucker.
You have,
Bear of a day.
you have a bad day?
Bear of a day.
Why so, man?
Various reasons. Played Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Wasn't that
Ooh.
good?
Yeah.
Thought it was going to be better than it
That's
was.
one of the new ones on Gold, right?
It sucks.
Okay.
They've all sucked so far. I don't know what the fucking.
They're
big
all
deal
kind of
is.
the same mechanic with
Same
just
thing.
different,
I'm done.
different
I'm out.
atmosphere.
Count me out.
Yeah, I was out a little while ago when they did that whole office building where you have to hack a computer. I'm like, wow, talk about getting yourself out of the immersive environment of being a pirate.
I gotta go to work. I gotta go to
Black
work.
Flag.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't get that far into Black Flag. I was like
You gotta
enjoying
go
it.
out into like the not
I hate it.
animus and then go to work at an office job basically
Jesus.
and log into a goddamn computer and like do shit. I was just like, I'm done.
I'm glad I missed out on
I'm
that.
going back into the pirate world and I'm never coming back out. And that's how I feel about my real life.
Yep.
So what do you got for us, man, daddy?
Well, I experienced 13 years of the pirate world, and trust me, you don't want to live in that. Well, I was going to talk about Abducted in Plain Sight.
Whoa.
He really did.
Secret shows.
He's wanted by Interpol.
Secret shows.
which you need to check out. Check out Abducted in Plain Sight. But so I guess the main thing I'm going to talk about is a little movie called The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot. That's the title.
So
The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot.
Is it the Dos Equis guy?
You'd think, because he's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Like,
But it's actually Sam Elliott. It's Sam Elliott.
Even better than
Yeah,
the
I'll
Dos
take
guy.
that.
Sam Elliott is
He's
the
the
lead.
first Dos Equis
Why
guy.
isn't Sam Elliott the Dos Equis guy?
I don't get it.
Holy
I don't know.
hell! Why not? I guess because he just isn't
Event
real life.
Horizon, Peaky Blinders, Mouth of Madness.
He's
what
in.
else?
No,
Jurassic
no,
Park.
no, not Sam. No,
Big
that's Sam
Lebowski.
Neill.
Big
That's Sam
Lebowski.
Neill,
Yeah, who are
not
you
Sam
saying?
Elliott.
Oh, Sam
Big
Elliott.
Lebowski.
Sam Elliott
Who
is
the
the
fuck
guy
is
with
Sam
the white mustache
Oh,
who has
Big
the
Lebowski then.
voice. Yeah,
Yeah.
Big Lebowski.
I thought we
You're
were
a
talking about
special
Sam
counsel.
Neill. Fuck.
No, Sam Neill's amazing. But this is Sam
He's a
Elliott.
Kiwi.
He's also on that.
Is he really?
Yeah,
Sam-
he's from New Zealand.
Sam O'Neill is, yeah, right? Sam O'Neill?
Sam Neill.
Sam
Sam
Neill.
Damn.
Sam Elliott.
You got me hyped about this shit. I'm not even caring.
He's also on that sitcom The Farm, right, with Ashton Kutcher.
What a horrible thing.
I know,
I
it's-
tried to
yeah.
watch it, and
I haven't
oh my
watched it at all.
god!
I
tried to watch
No,
an
no,
Ashton
try to
Kutcher
watch
thing
as an
called The
experiment.
Farm.
Oh, no.
Oh, it is just so insanely
Wait,
bad.
The Ranch?
There's not enough.
The ranch. The
You
ranch.
didn't even remember the name, and you were the ones that watched it.
Right.
No,
That's
I
not a
didn't-
good thing.
I didn't watch it. I just know he's on it. That's what I was trying to explain. I'm like, no, I haven't. No, I
have no
was-
opinions on
To
that.
all
I
the-
should have even said it. I forget I mentioned it.
To all the people that bitch about Big Bang Theory using a laugh track, and
Bang
they
Theory
actually
is
are in
so
front of a live
terrible.
audience, okay? Just all you people, it's actually in front of a live
It's true,
audience. They may
yes.
augment it, but it is in front of a live audience. But The Ranch on Netflix has the worst fucking laugh track you've ever heard in
I
your
can't do laugh
life.
tracks.
It is so bad. I don't understand how people weren't, like, if people get mad at Big Bang Theory, they should be going pitchforks and torches after this show.
The only good usage of the laugh track was in Too Many Cooks.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That is so
Laugh
good.
track to horror effect.
Yeah.
Is-
And now
is
the thing's
best.
in my head. No, it's all right.
Too many cooks.
Oh,
Too
no.
many cooks. We gotta watch Too Many Cooks now.
Too
after
many
this.
cooks can spoil the bra. Okay. But The Man Who Killed Hitler and then the Bigfoot. So you got that title right there. And right there, you're like,
It's a lot.
I'm in. There's a lot. It's
sign
in.
me up.
You got Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott. God damn it. You
Yeah, I
fucked me up.
told you.
Sam Elliott, who's just amazing. He's an American treasure, and now he's got his first Oscar nomination thanks to A Star Is Born.
Yep.
I don't know if
And-
he was in that.
And so you're thinking you're going to get like an action-y, cheesy schlock fest or something like that. No. It
Interesting.
is a serious character study about a reluctant soldier. There is a few little action sequences. There's a few cheesy. There's good humor thrown in. But it's actually a well-acted, well-scripted character study.
All right.
It's an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes or so, and it's about the man who killed Hitler and then the Bigfoot.
Yeah,
And-
that's a hell of a sell right
But
there.
it's not an actiony picture. It's not a cheesy picture. It's got cheesy elements, but it is really a kind of serious character study about a reluctant soldier. It is it's not where you think you're going to go with that title, and they do have fun with using that sort of cheesy aesthetic when it comes to the titles and things like that. But overall, it's just a kind of serious, somber character study. And Sam Elliott is great. It's got a lot of just like quiet moments of this man reflecting on his life. And it's really well done. It's really interesting, and it's not what you'd expect with the title. I'd give it at least a solid 5 beard pulls out of 7,
Okay.
possibly more, depending. It's like I judge things on mood, but it's really well done. It's well shot. It's really well acted. It's got some other name actors in it that you'll know, and it's just such a trip that someone would write something like this, give it that title, and then it would make it through and be greenlit and have someone like Sam Elliott in it.
Yeah, that is the
Wow.
stupidest title I think I've ever heard.
But no, but that's what the story is. It's the story of the
Yeah.
man who killed Hitler, then the Bigfoot.
I know, and now I'm intrigued. Because how
Yeah,
else are you going to
well-
write it? The man who wasn't there? No, fuck you.
This motherfucker killed Hitler.
and then the Bigfoot.
And then the Bigfoot.
And
That's
remember,
all you need
Whatever
to know.
that means.
I absolutely
Yeah.
love the fact that it's not Bigfoot. It's the Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
It's
The
the
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
The
You know,
Bigfoot.
and it's just
All right.
I really enjoyed it, and it's not what you're going to expect. You know,
You queued up like 10, 15
You think
on the
it's going to be
Mandela
like a
movies.
trauma movie. You know, when a title like that, you're thinking like trauma or something like that, and that's not what it is at all. But like the entire time, me and my wife were sitting and watching, we're like, what the hell is going on? You know, I mean, this is
I'd be thinking like a Turbo Kid kind of
No,
like that
I
kind
know,
of intense.
not even
like,
close.
comedy.
Not even close to Turbo
not
Kid.
even close. It is a somber character study of a reluctant
Crazy.
soldier.
All right, I'm in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in.
It's just
on the list.
it's on video demand right now, meaning for me Netflix. And so I think it's actually in theaters as well. So
Collusion.
It's something that if you get a chance and you like good filmmaking, and Sam Elliott, I mean, he's just a national treasure.
I love him.
You get to hear his voice. He's got one of those great gravelly voices.
He does.
And plus, he's the second Ron on Parks and Rec, and so that's a great role. Yeah, that's a great role. So that's my recommendation is also recommend Abducted in Plain Sight, but The Man Who Killed Hitler, and then the Bigfoot.
Well, fuck me.
5+.
I'd rather just watch the movie, but okay, we can do both.
I know how you swing, man, Daddy.
Wow.
Well, that's excellent.
There you go.
Feels good to be back in the saddle again.
There we go. And we're about to do our first normal episode after doing our
horse blanket on.
By the way,
we got the reins.
Kaz and I
between the teeth.
So that was Minisode 56 right there of Fort Fritz. Thank you all very, 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 very much for listening. Welcome back to season 3 of Fort Fritz. We got a lot planned for you this year. Get in front of your TV because that's what we're going to be doing this season. We hope you enjoy what we do. We thank you very much for listening. Please subscribe anywhere you can. That way you get the little notification, let you know when we have new stuff, and share. More than anything, please share. You can find us on all the platforms. I'm not going to list them because you know them by now.
Yep.
Tell your friends about Fort Fritz. Keep listening to Fort Fritz. And thank you for listening to Fort Fritz.